If you asked me what the word should be that describes the ideal human-equine relationship in the 21st century, I would say cooperation. The trust-based cooperation. Hey there, you are listening to another episode of the Cooperative Equine podcast, which was originally the Vet Care Training podcast. I'm Dr. Katarina Junghanzová, a former equine vet, now cooperative care trainer, and I am your host in this podcast. I have been exploring the human-horse cooperation for the most of my life, and I have been playing with equine cooperative care for the last 10 years, and I have learned that cooperation is way more profound than just getting our horses ready for vets and farriers. So this is exactly what I would like to be talking about in this episode. So buckle up and let's go. But before we dive into this conversation, make sure to subscribe to this podcast to help it grow, reach more people, and share this message that is so much needed with the equestrian world. All right, and now let's dive into today's episode. Okay, this is something to think about. How would you describe your relationship with your horses or your equines in general if you should use only one word? What would be the one word for you to describe your way of interacting with your equines, the way of your relationship? Would it be trust? Would it be communication, cooperation, mutuality? What would it be for you? Think about it, and now think about what this word means to you. Because the thing is that when we describe something with a certain word, when we give something a certain label, chances are that two different people are speaking about something using one specific word. And for each of these people, this word has a slightly different meaning. So when two people speak about trust or respect or cooperation, chances are that for each of them, the meaning is a little bit different depending on their experience and on what they have learned throughout their life. So think about how would you describe your relationship or your interaction with your horses with one word, and what does this word means to you? You can think about it, you can write it down, you can journal on it, you can post about it on social media, because I'm really curious about what comes up for you. For me, when someone would ask me about one word that would describe my relationship or the relationship that I want to have with my equines, the word to describe the ideal interaction I am aiming to with my equines, the word for sure will be cooperation. And I think as an equestrian society, we are now at the stage where we need to let go of the old paradigm of us being the leaders, the alpha, the person who needs to teach the horse respect, the person who needs to show the horse who is the boss, not just because it has been scientifically disproven multiple times. There are articles, there are studies that disprove the dominance theory, and all the modern ethical horse trainers are on board with it, that this is just an outdated way to see the human-equine relationship. Well, I got kind of trapped into this long sentence, so I really have to remind myself to speak in short sentences, finish the sentence before I start another one. I think this is an ADHD trait. I am not diagnosed with ADHD, but I have so many ADHD traits that, Anyway, so I think we are so past this. Not only it has been scientifically disproven multiple times, not only we know that we don't have to interact with our horses or our equines in this way, and we still can be safe, okay? If this was the only way to be safe, I would say, okay, let's play leaders. Let's be dominant, because this is the only way how we can really be safe and get things done with horses. But we know it isn't true. We know we can do better. And when we know we can do better, I think it's up to us to do better. So, to finish the sentence, not only it was scientifically disproven multiple times, but now that we know that we can do better and that we can treat horses more ethically, because following the dominance theory also comes with certain unethical practices that are used in training. So now that we know that we can actually work with our horses or our equines more ethically, it's time for us to start doing it. It is time for us to start doing it. It is time for us to start cooperating. And as a vet who has been playing around equine cooperative care for over a decade, I have noticed certain changes in the human-equine relationships dynamics when I started applying cooperative care and when I started teaching my students to do the same, to get their horses ready for simple procedures such as wound cleaning or deworming. It wasn't anything big, like we didn't change the entire way they were interacting with their equines. We just started repairing what needed to be repaired, right? So if the horse has problems with injections, I would help my client to train the horse to cooperate in injections. If the horse wouldn't stand still for a farrier, we would be looking for the reason. So maybe the reason was lack of balance or pain, which is actually very common. So if your horse doesn't want to stand still for a farrier, chances are that they either lack balance or they have pain in the leg that you hold up. Usually it's in the carpal joint, and then it hurts the horse to keep the joint flexed, or it's in the other leg, and then it hurts the horse to put the whole weight on the other front leg. This is usually about front legs, right? So anyway, to finish this sentence, oh my God, today probably wasn't a good day to record a podcast episode, but I had this thought on my mind and I really needed to share this with you. So yeah, I was working with my clients on small things, just like training one specific cooperative behavior. But what I noticed and what my clients noticed was that their horses have become more focused on them and more willing to engage, more willing to cooperate because they were expecting positive interaction. And it isn't just about treats. You all know that cooperative care training is based on positive reinforcement training, which means we are using food rewards, mostly food rewards, because with horses, food rewards are the easiest ones. Most of the horses will work for food if you choose the right value of the reward. So that's why many people think, okay, it's just about giving a horse a treat. If I give my horse a treat, he will stand for an injection, which if you tried, you know that it may or may not work because there are several components missing in this whole picture. So cooperation isn't about treats. It is primarily about giving the horse choice to engage in a training session or in a procedure, and also giving the horse the option. And whenever I say horse, please know that I mean equine in general, because I myself have a mule. I know that you guys have mules and donkeys, so it's pretty much the same for all the equine, okay? So it is important that the horse or the equine in general has the option to opt out. And this is not like, okay, try to opt out. You will get punished for this. No, this is not an option then, right? This is not a choice. The horse technically has a choice. I mean, when we're speaking about choice, the horse basically, technically, has a choice all the time. Because when you pull on the lead rope, even if there's no other option for the horse than to follow you, because you will start pulling more and more if the horse decides otherwise, the horse still in the beginning can respond to it by immediately taking a step forward and follow you, or to brace against it. Technically, there is a certain element of choice in it, but this isn't the type of choice that I'm speaking about. So what I mean by choice is that the horse has two equal options, both with positive outcome. So the horse can either choose to cooperate, to go touch a target, stand still for an injection, for example, or they can decide to do something else, do different behavior that you have trained previously for the horse to communicate with, to say, hey, I'm not really feeling like, doing injection training today, but let's do this. Or the horse can decide to go somewhere else and get a food reward, right? So I usually have a bucket ready for this. So cooperation is about the horse having choice. And this is the point where, this is the crossroad where the horse can truly choose to cooperate with you. So coming back to the human-equine cooperation in general, when practicing equine cooperative care, I would notice horses becoming more cooperative even outside these training sessions, even in situations where technically they didn't have a choice. They would still choose to cooperate because, let me say, choice is like a safety net. The horse needs to learn that it's there. The horse needs to test it several times, and especially if the horse has a negative experience from the past, they will test it. They will test multiple times that they can opt out from the session and that it is safe. But once the horse is familiar with having choice and having this safety net, they don't need to test it every single time. So this is a common misconception of a traditional horse world, that if I let my horse say no, I am never going to get a yes again from them. And if that happens to you, that speaks something about the way you're training. Think about it. I have trained horses and other equines to cooperate in painful procedures such as injections or wound cleaning in conditions where they would have still the other option available. So usually there was a bucket with free food. And when the horse touched the target or stepped on the mat, which are some of the start button behaviors that I teach my students in the Cooperative Care Intensive program, I will put the link down below this podcast so you can check it out. So these are the start button behaviors. And when the horse does the start button behavior, plus there is also an emotional or somatic consent, another important thing, again, another thing that I talk about inside my Cooperative Care Intensive program. And when these two types of consent are there, I know that I can start the procedure, right? While when the horse walks away to the bucket or to another station to do another behavior or whatever, I know that this is no, okay? This is the no option, no go. But even in these conditions, I was able to train horses to cooperate in painful procedures, and so were my students. So it is not true that when the horse says no to you once, they will keep saying no. If it happens, it's their feedback that you have to change something about your training, right? And this is something that not many people want to hear. If the horse says no to you, it means that to motivate them to engage in the interactions with you, you have to change something about your training. Or you may need to change something about the way you kind of feel in your body, right? If you don't feel safe in your body, you cannot expect your horse or your equine to feel safe with you. This is something that I am diving into right now, and I am creating an epic online workshop for you, but I'm not going to go there yet because it's still happening in the background. It is still an embryo of an online workshop, so to speak. So you will know when it's ready. So this is one thing to remember. Saying no is a valuable feedback, and it is up to you to learn how to respond to it. But it is not the end of the world when your horse or your equine says no to you. So, as I said, cooperation, even though we are using reward-based training, we are using food rewards, isn't just about treats. They won't work if the horse feels under pressure, if the horse feels like they don't have choice. So now let's take a huge leap back to the beginning and let's come back to the word that I think describes an ideal human-equine relationship. For me, it's cooperation. Now, how to get started with cooperation? If you are curious about this, I have created the entire human-equine cooperation framework that I will be probably talking about in this podcast, but you can also download a PDF. Again, I will give you the link below this episode so you can check it out. It's a free PDF, and there is also another surprise for you inside. Okay, I'll tell you. It's a secret podcast episode that you can only access when you download this PDF. So there's a link inside, and it will tell you more about the framework, the human-equine cooperation framework, and it will help you answer some of the fundamental questions connected to each of the pillars, of the 7 pillars of the framework. So I created the human-equine cooperation framework because when teaching equine cooperative care, I would notice certain patterns repeating all the time. People getting stuck at the exact same points. People not making progress with their horses. And I was thinking, what is wrong? Like, they are doing everything correctly. Like, technically, they're correct. They have, sometimes there were a few things to be fixed, like the rate of reinforcement or criteria or something like this, little things. But then I discovered something, and I discovered that I would often expect my clients to have certain foundation while they were lacking this foundation. So I said, okay, so let's give them the big picture. I am the big picture person. I also wasn't happy about just teaching cooperative behaviors because I have always known there are so many things that we have to be aware of. We have to know the science. We have to be aware of our environment. We have to learn to read the horse. We have to learn to see the stress signals to be able to spot the moment when the horse says no. It is so important. We need to become the person our horses or equines want to cooperate with. Okay? Before asking your equine for cooperation, make sure you are the person your equine wants to cooperate with. This is so important. And again, we are going to be diving into this topic in the online workshop that I'm working on right now, or it's already out, depending on when you are listening to this episode, but you will know, and I will tell you when it is ready. So yeah, these are all the things. And then, of course, you have to build foundation for your equine. You have to build the building blocks of communication. And then there is consent. The equine has to understand the concept of consent. And then cooperation is basically the result of all of this. This is the big picture, the holistic view that the human-equine cooperation framework is all about. So make sure to check it out. And if you are wondering how to start with cooperation in practice, I would suggest that you start training your equine for cooperative care. Cooperative care behaviors are some of the most practical skills that you can teach your equines to have. because they can literally save their life one day. Plus, your vets and farriers will be happy because they will not have to fight your horse to get the work done. Plus, your horse will be happy because they will be less stressed in these, what I call, real life situations. So, if you want to start adding some aspects of cooperation into your relationship with your equines, you don't have to throw away everything you have built together. You can just seamlessly start adding more choice, more options to cooperate, and you can start by training your equine to cooperate in their care. And if you want help with this, I have created an amazing, supportive online program for you. It is called the Cooperative Care Intensive. It used to be called the Cooperative Care Kickstart, but since I rebranded my whole project, the word Kickstart didn't really fit. I didn't really like it anymore. So it's Cooperative Care Intensive now. And this is my signature 12 weeks program where I will guide you through teaching your horses or your mules or your donkeys the most important cooperative care behaviors while doing everything consent-based, choice-based, and really being focused on building agents, helping your equine build agency around these interactions. This is a live online program, so there are live Zoom calls and video feedback on your training videos, and it only opens a few times a year. So if this speaks your name, don't hesitate for too long. Check out the link in the description, and I'll see you there. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. I hope you liked it. I hope it gave you some food for thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast and share it with your friends. See you in the next episode. Bye.